Welcome to another discussion of Annex Cloud Market Movers, where we bring in experts and luminaries to help us through the current times and plan for the future. Today, I'm very, very excited to welcome the team from Infobip. Welcome to the discussion, Sanya and Arun. Very, very glad to have you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. Welcome for the invitation. Thank you.
Perfect. If we may start off with a quick introduction of Infobip, as well as what your roles are at Infobip. Maybe Sanya, we start with you and then follow with Arun.
Thank you. I'm the global head of marketing at Infobip. A little bit more about who we are and what we do. Let's say we are in the business of digital customer experiences. So Infobip is an omni-channel cloud communications platform that enables businesses and developers to build personalized, connected customer experience across all stages of the customer journey over the channels the customers prefer. Access to one single interface, our omni-channel customer engagement and contact center solutions, let's say, enable and help clients and partners overcome the complexity of consumer communications, grow their business, increase customer satisfaction and customer loyalty.
Thank you, Sanya.
Great. Let me jump in. I'm Arun. Thanks again for having us here, Al. And I manage the strategic partnerships and alliances for North America. So back to you.
Great, wonderful. So if we may start with a little bit of a question around what you all saw with your clients. I mean, you're sending out a massive amount of communications from your platform. And so what were some statistics and data that you can share with us that would talk a little bit about what you saw during the COVID times over the last 6 months?
So in one word, what we have experienced is accelerated digital transformation across all industries. From a short standstill in the early stage of the pandemic to an above average volume in only a month or two in the pandemic. So our Infobip data scientists found out that SMS, chat apps messaging, and internet phone calls have soared as businesses look for timely communication methods. For instance, to either confirm pickups, share updated hours of operations, and then also all the healthcare providers across the globe that had to update their public about the news about the pandemic. When we talk about stats, what we have seen is a network traffic increase from between 20 to over 60%, depending on the channel and global region. The obvious winners were SMS and WhatsApp from chat apps, but we have seen an increase across the whole globe. And this started in March, and already now for the last 6 months, we still see an increase in volume. Communication volumes have also correlated with industry performance around the lockdown, around the pandemic. Healthcare grew 39% in March, an additional 30% in April, following with logistic, on-demand, retail, banking, financing, and media and entertainment. However, communications, transportation, hospitality, and travel sectors dropped by 50% in April, but just become recovering again in June.
That's wonderful. And you know, what was interesting to me and what you just gave me some numbers on were, you know, the massive increase in digital communications, first initially after the period, you know, led by communicating sort of the challenges and how their businesses are adapting. And then as the move towards digital grew, as businesses had to grow more digital, that was sort of leading that communications. But what was also very interesting to me was that industries that are very highly impacted, whether it's travel or hospitality, seem like they dropped, but now they're catching back up. And that's very interesting to know, because what I see in that sense is you are the leading indicator of success. So if I can see that from a communication standpoint, those communications are getting back to normal, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, it seems like. So that's wonderful to know. You know, one of the things that we are very excited in working with Infobip about is how we can further retention and loyalty, working with sort of the marketing and CX platform at Infobip. And so I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on retention and loyalty in general during this post-pandemic times. How do you think, how important these are to the variety of different industries that you work in? And how do you think you know, businesses should think about investing in customer retention over the next kind of couple of years?
Yeah, that's a
Thank you.
yeah. let me take a step back, right? As we all know, from a human psychology standpoint, right? Anytime, let alone post-pandemic, any relationship is going. Parties are hoping to aspire to build a loyal relationship, right? So, in other words, loyalty becomes front and center for any engagement, right? For any business. How do we achieve? We personally believe as Infobip is having very meaningful and resonant communications by the brands with the customers, and how it is enabled is through seamless interactions across any channel, right? Now, going back to the research that Sanya alluded to, we had several key findings. So I'm going to probably highlight 5 of them and then give some substantive data, right, if that might be of value for our audience. So one is, one we got is the key craving coming out of pandemic, right, for customers at large is interaction. It's a no-brainer, right? So in a couple of data points, more than half of the people that were polled said communication has become more important than ever, especially in a brand to customer context, right? The second one is more than 1/3 of the people said that they are actually now even more enthusiastic and happier to engage with brands on digital channels. And of course, pandemic or starting with the pandemic, right? So those are 2 key observations. The second one is, okay, now said that, what do we want to communicate with those customers? Finding the right fit is going to be imperative, right? Again, more than 1/3 of the customers said 2 things, which is again commonsensical. We want to engage with a brand that really understands who we are and what are our desires for the goods and services that we want to tap into, right? That's one. Again, about 32% said, hey, we want to receive communications that really chime with whatever our interests and preferences are. Only then we're going to engage, right? The third one is, now how are we going to engage? Now that we talked about what to engage, right? How are we going to engage? That comes to the preferences on channels and all that. Again, based on the age groups, there is going to be a mix of preferences, quite obvious. But in general, across the age groups, they are more flexible to changing their behavior during the pandemic and post-pandemic, and they're embracing a lot more digital channels. Now, email had a marginal, uptick over other channels, if you will. But that said, they're saying, hey, I'm going to open up, I'm going to adopt SMS and instant messaging, really kind of had an uptick. So that's one thing that's going to stay here forever, right? Which also benefited our business, frankly, right, as Sanya alluded to. And the next aspect is the Gen Zs of the world. They said, I'm going to adopt more and more text and social media. That was a common trend, right? An uptick of about 25 to 30% again, which is, too significant actually. And certain parts of the world, not so much in North America, in Europe and other places, there was about 10% increase in WhatsApp-based communications. We're hoping that is probably going to kick over into North America as well, right, on our shores. So that's another one. Very interesting, even some of the older age groups, they said, hey, I'm becoming more comfortable with mobile-first communications. And I've been used to just email sitting on the desktop. I'm going to adopt mobile-first communications, all channels, that kind of hooked to the mobile. So these are some of the trends that we observed. Now going on to 4th, I said 5 trends, right? So just to keep track of myself. The 4th one is omni-channel matters more than ever. Now that's, pleasing news for all of us, Al, as you might imagine, right? So what are the key things again? When we ask them, hey, what is the right channel to engage with you as a customer? They say, well, it depends. It's going to be everything, as I said, because the lockdown has really meant there is more channels already in place. So all businesses have to think about every single channel, right? And as I said, email came out a little bit better than other channels, but no clear winner. And more important is more than 50% of the people, I think about 50 to 53% said, I really don't have a clear choice. Since I've now opened up myself to all the channels, the key thing then becomes is, when do you pick, this is the 5th point I want to get to, tuning into the right channel. When do you use what channel when you're engaging with a particular customer? That becomes key. And that's why I said, again, we all know this, right? Central to any relationship is how do we offer a personalized service? So which means based on the context or the need that the customer has, the channel is going to be different. Right? I want to have just a asynchronous communication. You can ping me whenever, probably an SMS text or even email, right? If it's too much of a time delay is fine with me, that's going to be a channel. Or if it's going to be two-way conversational experience, then you're going to probably resort to WhatsApp and things like that. So these are some of the things that we observed, and probably Sanya can add a little more about how loyalty programs shoe in with these kind of observations that we have.
Yes, thank you. Speaking about our research that we have conducted, we actually have a very interesting stat. Positive experience during lockdown are more likely to influence future purchases and loyalty. But we talk about over 50% of respondents claim to purchase more in the future from brands that they have had a positive experience and interaction during lockdown. 1 in 5 already switched brands during lockdown because of the quality of the communication they received. So if we should sum it up, the rewards actually go there for the brands that get it right. 30% of all people that we have questioned have become more loyal to at least one new brand during the lockdown, which is rising to among 40% among Gen Zs. So it's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, I think these are very, very good statistics, and very interestingly enough, I mean, we've captured our own very own statistics, and I'll go point back to 2008 and what we learned, which is very similar, and it's a parallel that we are trying to draw on our side to see what we may see over the next 6 to 12 months as well. And so on the statistics side, we have a study that was done by CMO Council and Catalina Marketing in 2008. It was a massive study of 32 million customers or consumers. That was done over 685 brands. And so these include brands like Coke and Pepsi and Samsung and Apple and many large brands. And the idea was that even the largest of brands saw a defection rate of 52% from 2008 to 2009. So the study was done in 2009 for the 2008 recession, and 52% defection of brands. And of the people that defected, more than half defected to a competitive brand or some other sort of piece. So they still bought, but they defected to someone else. So this is the opportunity where brands and businesses have the ability where they can sort of really focus on retention and loyalty. And that could be through a unified customer experience that Arun talked about, or it could be essentially kind of the amalgamation of creating a loyalty infrastructure. It could be through a program which is front-facing or behind the scenes, but allows the companies, the businesses, to create a framework around the CX that keeps it all together and makes the consumers more loyal. Because if that doesn't happen in the next couple of years, most of these brands will see an impact. The last thing I will point out on statistics is the brands and businesses that focused on this as a tactic specifically were in 2008 20% faster to come out of the recession than other brands. So. Right. So it's an impact, that I think we're all thinking about, and we can learn from the times in general. So thank you for sharing these amazing statistics. I think we have a treasure trove of numbers that I think that marketers can look at and glean from. It takes me sort of my next question in terms of understanding your philosophy and how you drive marketing, or drive your product from a marketing perspective. And what I was very curious about in how you consider this concept of human to human, marketing or people-based marketing, and you talk about it. And I know you have this part in the platform, which is your people part of the platform, which is essentially first-party data or CDP, putting the data together. Could you tell us a little bit about this human-to-human marketing philosophy or people-based marketing, and then how do you then take the data together and make it useful, especially loyalty data that you can add to your people part of the platform or the first-party data?
Thank you. So with the rise of digital channels and platforms and all the available marketing automation tools, it is more complex, but also more interesting than ever for the marketeer to develop ongoing customer relationships. What is important about this intersection within marketing and technology is how it's giving marketeers insights in understanding people's behaviors, people's needs and preferences, and then enables marketeers also to offer customization and personalization at the one-to-one level. It's almost like back in the old good days when you have your local grocery store waving every morning. And this is what, as Arun also said, this is what people are craving, human-to-human interactions. So as a marketeer, you need to consider how this technology is going to drive engagement at each stage of your customer journey. And in the end, no matter if you are in a B2C or B2B world or marketing, people crave human-to-human connections. So there are two very important reasons why we believe that the future of marketing is H2H. First is engagement, because there is a better way to engage with your customers than the regular phone fill or a content download. As you already mentioned, we all of our marketeers live with our CDPs and CRM, and there we have a wealth of data which can really help us engage in a more quality way and find different touch points than your regular phone fill. And the second is, as Arun already mentioned, is omnichannel marketing. You really now have all the data available to understand what your customers, what people want to hear from you, personalize the message, send it to the right channel at the right time.
Yep. So, let me add some color. I think the second part of your question, Al, is how can we bring together loyalty, retention kind of data with our first-party CDP notion? Stepping back a little bit, what are loyalty programs for, right? And it's a rhetorical question, but let me answer that, right? Which is basically, it's a way to empower brands so that they can offer, by offering them a way to differentiate themselves without discounting their products or services, right? That's essentially the reason for loyalty. So, thereby increasing the repeat purchase and customer lifetime value. So that said, then thinking about loyalty retention data, first of all, I want to call out, it's not really a third-party data alone, right? So what we are offering in our people module, as you alluded to, is the ability for brands to build a first-party CDP. Now, you could bring in any data together so that you can build your own unified profile of a customer, right? Now, that said, now you can also bring in loyalty data, be it first-party that you accumulate through your properties, right? Or second and third-party data. And that's one of the, if I can say that way, that's one of the key reasons why we have partnered. You being a loyalty platform provider, you can enable that first or third party, however you see fit for a brand, right? Now, what can we do with it? Marrying it with first party data, several things. Let me call out a couple, right? One is when somebody gets into a loyalty club, they become qualified, then you can marry the data between first party and loyalty programs to offer personalized offers, right? Now you have a better perspective of who they are as a human, going back to human, or as a person, right? Now you can make those personalized offers when you're welcoming them and expose them to the world of exclusive benefits, if I may use that word, right, as a loyalty member. So that's one thing. What does it result in? It increases in CSAT, more retention, amplifying the retention. The second one is, again, one of the things that all of us would like to know is inquiry about where am I in the loyalty tier? How can I get to the next tier, or what are the benefits available, whatever the case might be as a loyalty member. So the reminders and status notifications, instead of letting them ping us and be reactive, how about we proactively send auto notifications on whatever related aspects? Again, amplifying CSAT and retention, right? That's one. That's the way I look at bringing the data together and adding value. And finally, this, I was thinking about this morning based on a personal experience in the past, right? Take the example of a bank. Let me call it win back mind share, right? That kind of campaigns, right? So I've been using credit card heavily before I got married, right? And let's say I've been accumulating loyalty points. Off late, I'm not doing much. And there is a status change, which is in my first party database, right? Now the third party loyalty data tells me that there isn't much of movement on the loyalty needle. And then the first party says, hey, there is a status change. Now I've gotten a kid, 5 months into being a dad or whatever, right? Then I say, hey, there is a possibility that my offers are not resonating now, right? Now, how about bringing this data together and talk about savings for kids' education or investment choices or whatever? Now you make that connection proactively. So those are the kind of things, sky is the limit, to put it in short, by bringing together these data.
So getting this information together is highly important because at the end of the day, you want a unified customer journey. And in this unified customer journey, I think that my leads to my next discussion sort of that I want to get your thoughts on. Within sort of the Infobip platform, you also focus a little bit on communicating that entire journey, right? So once I have that data together, once you have this information and treasure trove of information, first party data, third party data together into this unified platform or CDP, you're now able to communicate to these customers in a better way to kind of define that customer journey and essentially orchestrate the communications around that. And so can you talk a little bit about how you can then use that data within sort of the moments part of your platform, or maybe I also understand that you also have other customer data touch points within parts of your platform, whether it's conversations or answers where customer service agents are dealing with customers. So once you have the data together, you're enriching the customer journey either through communicating proactively through moments, or reactively where consumers come to you in some capacity, but you're enriching their journey nonetheless. So can you talk about some examples how you do that?
Sure. Let me start off and then Sanya can add color. So, moments we kind of address, right? Moments, just for the audience, right, is our customer engagement platform, marketing cloud like. And we talked about in the last item, we discussed some kind of color as to how to bring to bear the data, right? So let me jump to the conversations, which is more on the customer service support front, contact center. One of the capabilities we have is, as an agent, what would I like to see? A real good view of who's the customer that I'm talking with, right? In a B2C context, as an example. So we have something called the notion of customer context card. The brand can decide what kind of data to populate, if you will, in the customer context card, so that the agent knows, the current state of affairs, if you will, so they can best engage. Now, there is also another element of sentiment analysis, right, that we offer, which gives you a live feedback on, based on the conversational engagement, what is the customer feeling, so that you can fine tune your engagement, right, as an agent. So think about now, based on this loyalty data that we have, they are a high premium customer, highly loyal customer. Right from when they get into the queue, automatically routed to a tenured agent or a supervisor even, right? Again, better customer experience because they are a highly loyal customer. And the next thing is, oh, you know what, rather than being reactive, going back to the comment earlier, how about we proactively leverage the knowledge base and surface the right information to address the query at hand, right? And the third one is, they are a highly loyal customer, even otherwise. Let's not talk about only highly loyal customers. For anyone, right, as a customer, how can we seamlessly leverage the omnichannel conversation? Meaning, I want to move from voice to SMS because it makes sense. I am mobile right now as we speak, so I want to change over channels. So that provision that we can seamlessly enable. And the most important is, they are a highly loyal customer. How about once I resolve the issue, think about they weren't so unhappy based on the sentiment analysis or based on the whole engagement that you had. You close the case as an agent and then say, I'm going to send a note saying, thank you, glad that I was able to help you. Now here is a promotional offer that really aligns with what are their interests as a loyal member. What do you know about them, right, from their loyalty data? That's a mind-blowing experience. I would love to have such an experience, right? I'm sure any of us. So that's one. Now, kind of connecting it to another aspect of our portfolio, which is self-service, the answers chatbot experience. Again, when I come in, how nice would it be to, give me the ability to self-serve with that, providing the relevant data and options based on my loyalty profile, right? That's one option. The second is being able to quickly answer some of the questions that resonates based on what are my interests. Now, loyalty program is also going to have the preferences and the propensity for certain elements. How about infusing that in your self-service, right? And the third one is, hey, this is a very highly loyal customer for years. Let's not worry about self-service. Seamlessly hand them off to an agent in the conversations module that we talk about, so that there is a high touch, personal touch. So again, there is a whole lot of possibilities by bringing together loyalty data with first-party data and then addressing the holistic customer experience. Now, I would do a disservice if I don't point out how we can bring this to play as partners. So let me touch on that. I'm sure you'd like to hear. Is the way I think about Annex Cloud is, you guys are experiential loyalty, meaning how do I infuse loyalty throughout the customer journey? It's not after the fact you become a customer, then I'm going to worry about conversion, right? It's infusing through the journey. Your loyalty program management squarely aligns with that. Your referral marketing makes a customer loyal, converts them into advocate, right, by referring others. And your UGC, right, it's going to, again, help build loyal customers because they have UGC content generated by somebody else to better appreciate the brand. And secondly, they become advocates by contributing to the UGC forum or content repository, if you will. So it squarely aligns with this holistic experience that we can bring to bear. So Sanya, I know I talked a lot. I'm going to turn it over to you. Any additional color that you want to offer?
No, I think that you said it all. So when we talk about Infobip Moments, our omnichannel customer engagement hub, it is intended for brands who seek better understanding of their customers, react to their behavior, and anticipate their needs. And this is what ultimately drives the long-lasting customer relationships. When you talk about connected customer data, so through our people platform, we can import data from CRM, from all your loyalty programs, booking, payment systems, mobile apps, mobile and website, and more. And all of this well of data help us to actually drive this personalization and human-to-human element that we are highlighting so much. Really talking to our customers on a one-to-one level and understanding and participating what in every of their life cycle, so everything that happens, all the important life moments. So based on all this data, we can anticipate, okay, Arun just got married, so he will need something else than he used to use before. So this is an ongoing end-to-end experience and fueled by data from our CDP.
Perfect. And I think, this has been an amazing discussion for me because I'm putting it all together in my mind. We've started off with sort of what we all saw during the COVID sort of environment, how we sort of took those statistics and essentially are putting together sort of the next level of marketing tactics to bring sort of marketers the abilities that they need to have a unified platform from beginning to end, from data to execution to communication to rendering sort of the service for those customers, thereby bringing the entire customer experience into one holistic view to drive loyalty and retention. So I really love what we're planning to do together. Very, very excited to have both of you with me today to communicate this to our audiences. And thank you again, Arun. Thank you, Sanya, for being here today. For everyone else, if you want to hear more such videos, go to annexcloud.com/marketmovers. But that's it for now. Thank you again.
Thank you, Al. Thanks, Steve. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers.
Have a good day.
Bye.